particularly for the over 65s. And Acting Deputy President, it is a great privilege, as you all know, to be a senator for the great state of Western Australia. And the most wonderful part of that job is getting out and about to meet, listen, learn and to gain a greater understanding of the issues right across our wonderful state. And after 2 years of COVID restrictions, it was important for me to return to Exmouth and the amazing North West Cape region to see the community's progress on a range of issues that I had been working on with them. A key theme that emerged from the many meetings and one-on-one and with community groups was really an issue of balance. Balance between the environmental requirements of this most beautiful part and very special part of the world, but also to balance requirements of defence facilities across the North West Cape, to balance the growing needs of local residents, particularly with the state government considerations of infrastructure and services, and also to the increasing boom in tourism right across the Cape. And it really is an issue now of how to deal and balance that. So my thanks to the Shire of Exmouth CEO, Ben Lewis, who updated me on the very wide range of local infrastructure requirements and development plans that they have underway. We certainly canvassed a range of problems and barriers, but pleasingly we also identified a range of solutions that we can work on together. I also had the pleasure of returning to RAF Base Learmonth, this time on behalf of the Parliament of Australia's Public Works Committee, and I thank Defence and the committee for facilitating this very helpful and instructive visit. I'd also like to pass my thanks on to the Exmouth Chamber of Commerce for holding a roundtable for me with a wide range of local businesses. We discussed issues that are currently facing the community, including things like the rising cost of insurance, the lack of GPs on the Cape, the lack of aged care facilities, working visa restrictions for a much-needed workforce, and also the chronic lack of housing in the area. Also returned to see the progress of Minderoo Foundation's Exmouth Research Lab, and what they are now doing is nothing short of extraordinary. They're delivering world-leading marine research through the Flourishing Oceans Initiative, and it is certainly something that all Australians should be very proud of. But what yet was not clear is how all levels of government, including Defence, will now come together to look to find that balance between all of those competing interests, so that the history of Exmouth and the Cape, so that the amazing marine parks that we have can meet the needs of the local communities and also tourists. But again, there are ways forward, but we have to now, as an urgent priority, work together to make that happen. And Ms. Acting Deputy President, sorry, I'm having trouble speaking here. As you know, Exmouth has an extraordinary history. Exmouth itself was constructed in the late 1960s to support the joint Australia and US Harold E. Holt Naval Communications Base to house the US Navy personnel and also their families. And they really, truly did create a little America in Exmouth. The town was filled with all aspects of American life, which was very unique in Australia. And many of the men and women who moved there when it was nothing more than sand dunes to build Exmouth are still there today. But when management and operation of the site was handed over to private contractors, the facility remained. But when I visited these and other defence facilities on the site, I was somewhat stunned to surprise, as was the US ambassador at the time, to find out that the land had never been handed back from the US government to the Australian government, which accounted for the reason that these wonderfully historic buildings were decaying in front of our eyes. So I was pleased at the time to initiate the handback. I'm told that negotiations are progressing well, but they are not yet concluded. One final mystery remains that I would be very happy for anybody who might be able to shed light on this, is that there is a photo I noticed of Harold E. Holt receiving a plaque with a single peppercorn on from the US government representative as symbolic of payment for the lease of the land at Exmouth. Now, I have been trying very hard to relocate that plaque because I think it would be very fitting for Exmouth to have that returned to it when the lease is formally handed over, so that we can symbolically give it back to the United States and then house it permanently in Exmouth. So if anybody can shed light on where that plaque may now be, please let me know, because it would be a wonderful piece of history to retain. Thank you.